variables. Now if I try to print the value for var2, I'll save the code and run this one more time. So okay, what I'll do, I'll just give endl over here, so I'll get the output into two different lines. Now as you can see, for the first variable, that is var1, I'm getting 50, and for var2, that is for floating type, I'm getting a 75.32 as the output. So what else I can do is I can take user input for the variables. So what I'll do, I'll just write integer and a1. So this is just a integer type variable and I'm not assigning any value to this. And here in the next line I'll write a1 is equals to cin and variable name, and on the right hand side of is equal to, you directly store the value that you want to store into var2. But here I am not assigning any value to the variable a1 that is of integer type at the time of declaration. This is the point where I am making slash declaring this variable, and at the point of declaring this variable I don't want to assign any value to this variable. So instead of writing is equal to and the value that I want to store into the variable, I'll just simply write a semicolon. I'll terminate this statement over here. It's like an empty box or an empty variable, and we will store a value into this variable later. And how will we store the value into this variable? With the help of user input. So in the next line I'm writing cin for getting the user input into a1. So with the help of this line number 15, whatever value I'll enter, that will be stored into a1. And here with the help of line 17, I'm simply trying to print whatever the value user has entered for a1. So I hope you are very clear with the basic data types that are integers and float. And now let's move to the next section. Thank you. That are integers and float. And now let's move to the next section. Thank you. Hello will be 4 bytes. Next, meaning we can store values from negative of this number to this 214783647. So this is the entire range of values that we can store inside our integer type variable. So I hope you are very clear with what is the integer data type and how do you declare integer data type variables in C++. After this short discussion, we'll also have a look on practical. So let's move to the next data type. Here we are going to discuss about what is the float data type. So previously we were discussing about the normal integers or normal numbers that we have on the number line, and to use them into your C++ programming using. So this is the data type, this is the variable name, you can change the name if you want, and on the right hand side of the is equal to symbol you have the number or the decimal point number or the exponential number that you want to store into this variable. So what this statement or what this line of code in the entire program of your C++ will do, basically it will make a variable named salary. The data type of the variable will be integer, and 85,000 that you have written on the right hand side of this equal to will be stored into this variable called salary. I hope this is very clear to you. Now moving on to this example, we have one more variable called float area. So the name of the variable will be area, and data type for this variable is float, and the value that we are trying to store into this variable called area is 64.74. This was for this line. Moving on to the next line, we are declaring a variable called volume, and this time we are using a double data type. So double volume is equals to 134.64. So as you can see in point number 2, the precision for double data type is very high compared to what you get in your float data type. So how can you judge about precision is by looking at the number of digits that you can use after the decimal point. This is the very basic fund of precision and accuracy that you learn in your high school mathematics. So the precision can be very clearly seen from the number of digits that you are able to use after the decimal point. So these are some examples for float variables. Before that, let me include the header files hash include iostream and using namespace std. This is the standard stuff that we follow in every C++ program, and here we have our main function. So let me define a variable of integer type integer where 1 is equals to 50. So let's understand the statement with the help of the generalized syntax that I have written over here in the comment. So data type is the first requirement, and here the data type is the keyword int. So what it is telling, that this var1 is a variable and it is of integer type. So data type, variable name is var1 is equal to, and on the right hand side of is equal to, we'll write the value that we want to store inside this var1.